I've always kind of felt like my life was a movie. If you pay attention to protagonists and even antagonists of movies, TV shows, books, you'll notice a common theme. Many have absent and or dead parents. I felt connected to these worlds as a kid because it felt like I finally found someone, even fictional, that could relate to how I was feeling. I suppose many of us feel that way when connecting with art that resonates with our soul. So, that being said, being the main character sometimes sucks. The pain of being abandoned, finding my mother dead at 13, that kind of thing stays with you, changes you, marks your soul forever. After I found my mom dead, a running theme of main characters, and, well, let's not even get started on my father. You could say I relied emotionally on myself. My independence, sarcasm, and apathy helped me cope with feelings too big for a kid to deal with. I went most of my life feeling like I didn't have a mother, not opening my eyes to my grandmother, who helped raise me, emotionally support me, and love me, a true mother figure. Then, the pandemic hit, yet another plotline to a bad movie. I distanced socially from her because I was working in the ER at the time as a student nurse, but it was hard. I struggled with feeling guilty for not spending more time with her. It never felt like enough. They warned everyone in 2020 not to have a Thanksgiving, but people don't always listen. COVID made its way through my family and then finally to my Yiayia, my grandmother, my surrogate mother who raised me, probably the only person in the world that truly loved me unconditionally. I made the decision to stay with her during the time, even though I knew I'd be exposed. I remember holding her hand, looking up at me. I remember holding her hand and her looking up at me, and I started crying. And she said, "Why are you crying?" Grabbed my hand tighter and said, "Why are you crying? I'm fine. I'm not going to die." And she laughed. I remember the way the hospital, the quarantine zone looked, the way she grabbed the bed and struggled to get up to even speak. I remember her getting more and more confused in her last days, forgetting who I am, and calling me Gigi, her daughter that passed, my mother that died. Then, just 3 days before Christmas, she died. At this time, there was no way for me to run away from my feelings. The next day, I tested positive for COVID, spent the holidays and my birthday alone, sick in isolation. COVID for me spiraled into bronchitis, strep throat, and I guess due to the stress, I developed a stomach ulcer. At one point, I laid in my bed, and I remember looking up at my ceiling, and for the first time, in a way, truly feeling fear for my life, that I'd be running out of air just like my Yiayia in a matter of days. In a way, I'd always felt suicidal throughout my life, to be completely honest, but for the first time, I felt fear to die. I sat there and remember talking to myself and how I didn't understand why I even existed at all, just to live a life like this. I decided then that even though I was scared, I was ready. I pictured myself in the same horrible quarantine isolation room as my grandmother, and I would get so scared I'd vomit. She went from putting ornaments on the tree to gasping for air, just sitting down, doing nothing, in a matter of days. I didn't die, obviously, but at one point I wanted to. And when I didn't, I had to figure out how to live all over again, find the will. I began to feel more lost than I ever have. The year leading up to this, I had escaped an abusive relationship where I was groomed, abused, and raped. At times it felt like I was stumbling around in a dark room with a blindfold, and every now and then the rug would move out from under me and I'd fall. Finally, I just let go. I didn't realize it at the time, but part of the reason this was all so painful was because I was dying. A new process was beginning. I was being reborn, sort of like a phoenix. And just like a phoenix, eventually I rose again. And then I remembered I've been down this painful road before. And I always rose from the ashes better and stronger. So I just knew in my heart, it wasn't a matter of if I'd be happy again. It was just a matter of time. And you too will continue to rise and be reborn after each death. I am enough. My life right now as it is, even if it's not perfect, is enough. I am happy where I am. I'm grateful for where I am. I'm at peace with where I am. But I realized something. Being the main character has its ups and downs. But I am happy with my life. I love my life. I love who I am. I'm proud of who I've grown to be, and I'm excited to see where I'll go. My story makes me unique, has built my character and tested my strength. I may be a victim in some aspects, but I'm also a survivor and a warrior. I will always keep fighting, and I will never give up.
I'm not ready yet. If you want to take one more hour, it's fine with me. I love you. Cannot wait to see you. Bye. More.